Toxic forgiveness. Forgiveness can be a difficult subject to think about, especially if you are just realizing that maybe someone you are close to could be a narcissist or is generally a toxic person. But the truth is that forgiveness is one of the milestones you will probably reach on the road to true healing. The problem is, many people either rush it and try to force themselves to forgive when they're not ready, or they never get to a place of forgiveness. So in this video, I'm going to give you the differences between toxic forgiveness, which really doesn't help us, and healthy forgiveness that comes from true healing. Forgiveness is important for all relationships, but especially for those that are long-term. In this video, I won't be talking about small everyday things that we all do. We all make mistakes and need to give and get forgiveness. I'm referring to those bigger things that really hurt a person and are difficult to overcome in a relationship. It can also be something that isn't such a big thing if it happens one time, but you've told someone it bothers you and it still keeps happening. It's a general pattern of behavior that shows you and your needs are not important to this person. And specifically, I'm talking about the things narcissistic and toxic people do. These are things that make forgiveness much more difficult. The first thing to consider is the reason why you are extending forgiveness. One reason could be obligation. If someone who has hurt you is asking for it, you might feel obligated. Most of us really want to forgive and move on. But if the person hasn't given a true apology, doesn't seem sincere, and hasn't shown you that they will change their behavior, it can make us feel like forgiveness is just going to enable them to continue hurtful behavior. So if a person forgives just because someone asks for it, it can be toxic. And by that I mean, the person doing the forgiving might end up getting hurt again. Sometimes that isn't true forgiveness because the person is still hurt and has doubts. And the person who was forgiven might continue to hurt you because they feel as if they will be forgiven again. True forgiveness shouldn't lead to more abuse. Another reason is to preserve the status quo. In some relationships, a person might feel they're not able to leave, or may fear losing their children or even their job, because this can happen in work situations too. We might become so afraid of the alternative that we forgive quickly and just hope it doesn't happen again. But this kind of forgiveness can be dangerous because if you haven't seen any real change, no progress has been made in the relationship. The person forgiving will continue to get hurt. A third reason could be a new start. Some people forgive so that they can start over and forget that anything happened. Maybe they bought into a fantasy idea of the relationship and would rather just pretend that nothing bad happened. Unfortunately, things rarely go back to the way they were before, and a new normal of hurtful behavior might start to happen. A fourth reason could be you feel you ought to forgive. Some people were raised with the idea that they must forgive. They might even get pressured by family or friends to just forgive already. Forgiveness is a good thing, but the reality is that some hurtful people use it as an excuse not to need to change. If forgiveness is not coming from a place of being ready and really letting it go, the hurt is still there. And a fifth reason could be the person said they didn't mean it or realize you would get so hurt by the behavior. Most of us say things we don't mean or in the heat of emotion, and we all can misread a situation and say something we didn't know would hurt. But some narcissists or other toxic people frequently do things that most people understand are hurtful. They can also do things repeatedly, even when they've been told you don't like it. When a toxic person says they didn't mean it or realize you would get hurt, they often know what they're doing. They want to make you think you overreacted and that you should forgive them because they didn't mean to hurt you. However, consider the end result. Whether a person claims they know what they are doing or not, isn't the end result the same? You still got hurt. And if the same type of thing happens over and over, then the person does already know they are hurting you. Forgiveness in this situation won't change the problem. So forgiveness can become toxic mainly for the reason you are doing it, and it doesn't always have as much to do with what you are forgiving a person for. Healthy forgiveness is done primarily for one person, you. Forgiveness means letting go of resentment, bitterness, anger, and even guilt. Forgiveness is for you, so that you don't continue holding on to those emotions that make you endlessly think about what happened. If you continue getting stuck thinking about what happened and the person that did it, can you really move on? Can you really have a positive outlook on the future? Or is this thing or this person dominating your thoughts? If you're not ready to forgive, that's okay. You can only do it when you are ready, and no one can tell you when that is. People often say, forgive and forget. They put those two together. That works well for people who are trying to work on a healthy relationship together. For other types of problems where the person that hurt you is not looking out for your best interests and is not going to change, the forget part is not necessary for forgiveness. You don't have to forget that the person is toxic or what they did, but you can choose to understand that that is their issue, not yours. It helps to understand that we can't control anyone else. We can only control ourselves. So if you think you can't move on until you get a real apology, it can help to shift your focus onto what you can control, you. To work towards forgiveness, it usually helps to work on releasing anger and work on healing other aspects of yourself. It takes a while to get to that point, but when you're far enough along in your healing journey, forgiveness can come naturally. Until then, if you feel you're not ready, it's okay. You don't have to try to force forgiveness if you're not ready. As always, please remember that this information does not apply in cases where there is a possibility of physical danger. If you or your children are in danger, it is important to get help from local authorities or groups in your area. If you need help on your healing journey, please see my website in the description below.